Even on our turf, punk.
You are now checking out the Spike Punch Podcast Show. Drink up.
And you don't stop.
Weather can't hold us down.
And you don't quit. I feel like that. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Spike Punch. We are hip hop, and you are in the great debate place. What's up, everybody? I'm glad everybody is with us this week, man. Last week we had the storms.
We sure did.
And I was not making it.
Yes, thanks to Steve, we didn't do it.
We passed around the hat for who was going to be the first to tap out. And it was Steve.
It was Steve. It was Steve.
I was like Conor McGregor, baby.
I already
Took
knew
me
to
out,
put my
yo.
money out.
So it's like that, man.
Fellas,
Now he was like, "Are we doing this or what?" I said, "Oh, that's the key."
Yeah. If we doing this or what? Nigga already knew he won't come.
I wanted to be civil, like gentlemen.
Nigga was in his robe. Is we doing this or what?
Yeah, I know. I had to call you.
Oh man! All right, yo. So with that being said, man, tonight we have a special guest, the Honorable, the Sensei, Bill McGee,
Dollar Bill.
I didn't do it.
Bill.
Hey, round of applause. Round of applause.
I didn't do it.
Tied to the people. Yeah, Black Power mixtape over here tonight.
That's right.
No doubt.
All right,
I
so
told you I heard
Man, we all
Dick
got
Gregory.
black on, too.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, well,
Except Steve.
Brittany got black. Yeah.
okay,
I'm
Brittany.
going to back get Steve a shirt, man.
And I'm black, y'all.
Catch us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Spike Punch Show, and then of course on Instagram at Spike Punch Official and Spike Punch Biz. Get the merch.
Get the merch.
Get the merch.
And don't
Please
forget
get
to
the
pick
merch.
up. Hey, can you please switch to Fumie, please?
Yes,
if
sir.
you don't mind, Steve. Don't forget to pick up your I Agree with all the league t-shirts.
Off the league. I agree with off the league.
Fuck, don't never know what he's talking about.
This motherfucker don't never know what he's talking about.
Rock don't like that.
My man, though. This my man, y'all.
If I don't say nothing, I don't give. He ain't getting nothing, so I would be speechless. Well, y'all know how I feel about Off the League. I'm just trying to be respectful. That's
Shout out to
all.
Off the league, man.
That's
Y'all
my-
make sure y'all pick up these shirts, man.
That's my boy. Y'all do Arthur like that.
Yeah, because Off the League don't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And then Fumie go, well, I agree with him. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what you expect from me, man?
Starting shit. That's all.
Let's
Right.
give a shout out to our sponsors.
To the sponsor, designonline.net, graphic designs, flyers, brochures, business cards, photos, web pages, and designs. If you need to get in contact with them, you can contact Steve or Brittany, or if you can find her, Rock, Foom, Sean. You can even contact Dollar Bill if you can get a hold of him.
Absolutely.
And if you can't catch us there, you can also catch them on Design Detail on Facebook.
That's what's
Shout
up.
out.
Let's rock.
Let's go
Let's
to
rock.
one of my favorite segments of the show.
That's dope.
Look at the bum.
I review the classics. I review albums. I am Fuma. And this is Fumie Beats. Damn, boy. That handsome guy right there. Boy.
The bum. The bum was horizontal and handsome as a motherfucker.
Fumie Beats.
What you
We
got
found
for us,
Eddie
Fumie?
Kane, man.
Fuck you very much, P. Welcome everybody to Fumie Beats. We gonna do some album reviews today.
Real quick.
Real quick albums that came out. First of all, I'm gonna do Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne album came out. Actually, he just got a hip hop tribute yesterday
From where?
from BET Hip Hop
Oh,
Awards.
shit.
You know
That
what I
nobody watched.
mean? Yeah, nobody watched.
I never watched the awards.
Nobody watched it.
I watched it for.
I don't even. What they do? The ciphers? Wow.
The female cipher was dope. A lot of young
female
niggas
cipher?
and you know what? A lot of niggas in the way, man. We need to do better with this hip hop, man. But yeah, the
That's
females
sad.
was dope though.
That's sad.
Erykah Badu, Shout out.
What kind of pen she had on?
She killed it. Man, she had on some old off the wall. Hey, but she killed it though. She killed it though.
So she had on a long choir robe dress on?
You had to see it. I can't even tell you what she had on. You had to see it for yourself.
Okay.
Because what she had on, I don't know what it was. That's all I can say.
So they gave Weezy an award?
No, they gave Weezy a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Which, yeah, he really did deserve it, man. He responsible for the new generation.
No doubt.
Shout out to Lil Wayne. I want to talk about his album, man. I thought it was a solid, good album. I thought it was too long. Myself, for my personal preference,
records, man.
it was too long, man. Like, he could have shortened it down and made a way better album. But the songs on there brought half and half with me. The songs on there I fuck with. Yeah. And the songs that I ain't gonna say I didn't like, I just could have did without them.
22 songs. It gave me
22 songs.
22 songs.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne had 22 songs.
To
He had 23, but one song was the
22
intro.
songs back in the day was a great album.
That's too much, man.
No, it was good albums.
I mean, some people who had a lot of songs.
They like double albums, right?
Mixtape 22 songs.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trick to that if that's what he played, which is publishing. It's like, my boy, you get your publishing advance based upon the number of songs that you release. So like if your publishing contract is saying like, we give you another $5 million if you get 14 songs placed or 15 songs or something like that, then if he put all them songs on one album, it's you know what I'm saying? He going to the publishing company now with his hand out.
Oh,
I need another 3 or 5 million, and that's advanced towards your royalties.
Okay.
So once you meet your cap, you go back and say, I need some more money.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So he might be able to get $5 million out of them.
Okay.
Just because he released that many songs.
So you think this generation is actually listening to every song?
No.
Yeah.
But see, another thing is, because it's a hit and miss pick off the internet, if you're on iTunes, remember we're going to talk about this whole thing about demographics and independent records and records in general and sales. But if people are picking and choosing and they're buying singles on iTunes for 99 cents or $1.29, and you got 22 tracks out there, they might buy 10, 11 singles out of that 22.
All 28 of Drake Jones hit the Billboard. All 28 songs off his double album. All 28.
But who's
I'm about to get to the fans. Like, people got fans, man, and Drake in popular demand right now. Everybody loves Drake. He got a lot of fans. So, yeah, I mean, they going to put his songs out there. Yeah, he going to scream.
But
I feel like
who's buying the records? Which fans? Because you know what we're getting at.
Yeah, pop culture, white fans.
We know who's buying them.
Right.
Because young brothers and sisters, they
But I tell you what young black folks do, though. They do iTunes and have subscriptions. And
iMusic,
Spotify, and all of that. They do have subscriptions.
Yeah,
right. Which is really better. Because I think when I used to buy albums, I might go buy an album every other month if it's somebody I like.
Right.
But you think for the same $10, I get your $10 every month in perpetuity. You're gonna buy at least one CD from me, digitally. The equivalent. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
They found out how to get the money out of it, don't
you
they?
ain't getting no money from it, hardly.
The artists not getting no money.
Not a lot.
Yeah, I didn't think they were. Niggas say I'm number one, and what did you get for being a number one artist on iTunes? Nothing.
But they just passed the Music Modernization Act, and that just got passed, and that's kind of sad because you know who was up there at the White House when the man signed the thing, and we ain't gonna call his name. I'm not gonna call his name. I'm gonna talk about his mama who went to Virginia Union, but they passed the Music Modernization Act. And that's going to increase the amount of money you can get from digital streams and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what else album came out besides Lil Wayne's?
It wasn't bad as I thought either.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No,
it wasn't.
Not a Wayne fan, so I can't give my judgment on it.
It's not a bad album.
It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah,
the
I
music
believe
was
you.
good.
Not a bad
the
album.
only thing about it, when I felt like I gotta sit down and listen to 22 songs. Give me the same feeling I feel like when I gotta go cut my grass. I don't feel like going outside and do the shit. You know what I'm saying? But once you get into it, it's cool. Ain't no
I'm saying for
problem.
anybody who haven't heard Mona Lisa, I
heard Kendrick's verse on it.
That I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Listen to Mona Lisa. I feel like that.
Kendrick saved him.
No, I feel like I ain't gonna say he saved him. I ain't saying he saved him.
All the Lee?
No, I feel like you passing the torch. That's the way I looked at it.
Oh,
wow. Yeah.
Why ain't he on bad on him? He
Yeah.
rap about shit.
Yeah.
But he ain't never rap about
The
shit.
song has to make sense when you re-listen to it. If you listen to Wayne verse, then listen to Kendrick verse will make a lot more sense how you listen to Wayne verse.
Oh wow.
So it's a story. Yeah, but let's go to Eminem. Eminem brought out an album. You know, he had a big hype a couple of weeks ago with the whole MGK stuff, and but taking away from that, Eminem actually had a dope album.
He really did.
Eminem
Yeah,
album
you know
was
what I'm
dope.
saying? It was dope.
I
Like
didn't
the
think
best.
he could get back there.
I didn't think he could either.
It came and went.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came and went.
Ain't
Yeah.
think-
For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
No, I pumped it enough to get into it. Thought it was a real good album.
It did get
My favorite song on there is Kamikaze.
Yeah, Kamikaze.
Kamikaze, that's dope.
What,
They
Em?
did get the number one, yeah.
Yeah. And moving right along, Lupe Fiasco brought an album for anybody who didn't know and anybody who are or is a Lupe fan. Pretty solid album, like most of his albums.
I
Lupe
thought
pretty
that nigga
solid.
was retired.
He did say he retired, but surprise,
Lupe?
surprise.
Yeah.
Lupe,
That was
yeah,
still retired.
right.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. Any Lupe fans that love Lupe Fiasco, you would dig it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you just like hip hop, want to hear something new, something refreshing, it's something good to listen to. Kendrick Lamar dropped a EP album.
He did?
Yes, he did. And it's actually pretty fucking dope.
Why wouldn't
How
it
many
be?
songs on it?
He called it EP, but it shit a fucking album because Kanye and Pusha and Nas can bring out a 7-song album.
Yeah.
He got 9 on his, and he
Is
called
that
it an EP.
Wow.
But it's an album.
9
he called it
song
an EP.
EPs.
Anyway, pretty fucking good. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he had no real hits on there, but if you love Kendrick Lamar, you love good music, good songs, good format, lyrics. Kendrick Lamar.
What do you think about Kendrick Lamar, Dollar Bill?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. 'Cause, no, really, because, see, I checked him out on the Quincy Jones joint where he was meeting Quincy, and I had checked him out. And then I decided to go and listen to his stuff. My man is cool. You know, he's he's a real music kind of person. He's a next generation kind of cat. You know, he definitely not Migos and people like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know,
definitely.
he's like real music, real concepts. You know,
Push the boundaries.
Yeah, he creative.
Artistry.
Very creative,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the important part is he writes songs, and that's what most people don't understand is composition is really where all this crazy mess has gotten out of hand. Because cats don't write good songs anymore. You know, they just like,
They really don't.
yeah, it's the songs that's crazy, you know. You write some classic songs that 10, 15 years from now, you listen to it, you go like, oh, that's nice.
That's what I'm talking about. Classics.
That's the classic song.
There are not a lot of classics
Nope.
in this era of music.
It's
No.
not. But I heard
Yeah,
some stuff
yeah,
that
he writes good songs.
I would think a couple of years down the line, I would say it's a classic. Like, you know what I mean? There's some stuff I've heard that I'd be like, see, it's hard to call it a classic when you first hear it, because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I might like it, and in my mind, I'd be like, man, this might be a classic, whatever. But, you know, if you can listen to it 10 years down the line and people still praising it, then we can call it a classic.
What about stir fry?
Stir fry? Hey, fair enough to the youngins, man. It might be a classic. Yeah, I like it too, but you know, like to the youngins, it might be a classic. I think Kendrick last 2 albums was classics, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Yeah, I always felt like you don't have to be a great rapper or a great singer to make a great song. So, I mean, you get one bad, man, you got to do.
I mean, a lot of people
like
like
stir
that.
rap.
That's the whole point of like the one-hit wonders. Like you made a great record, and you might can't make another one, but you did make a great record at one time. So
What else? Did T.I. drop out?
yeah, about to get to it.
Oh, okay.
Why you rushing
If you
us
let me,
along?
Oh, no, I'm just.
It ain't no hurricane outside.
I just, you know.
But you gotta go.
I gotta go nowhere. Y'all go from one to the other, so you know something.
What's wrong with this
This
nigga?
guy, man. See, you mad about the Alpha Lee shirt?
Ty,
This is the Alpha Lee shirt.
No.
I ain't worried no more, man.
You better not wear set that joint on fire.
You know the personal grudges against me, rushing my moment along. God damn, man.
Hey, Rock. Rock, why is Sean P always picking on you, man? Y'all.
Yeah, he do stuff, man. You like.
And he's slick.
Cause he ain't have to do that.
Because he's not loud or irate or nothing, but.
You know, I was sitting here thinking, like, you know, time consumption. Oh, they about to talk. You know, they about to talk. You know, so I got the mental clock in my head. That's all.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? That's all.
God damn, man.
You know, go ahead. Continue.
Okay, let's get to T.I. since Rock want to rush me along.
This is what Rock wants.
Yeah, this is Rock wants. So T.I. just brought out an album that, in my opinion, is super fucking dope. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A real all the way through album. You know, I ain't skipped nothing. I thought this shit was fucking awesome.
Appreciate T.I. growth, man.
Great. A lot of growth. Like, for all the stages we seen T.I. go through, we watched him grow up. This all in one on one album.
I heard T.I. say one time that music is really just a commercial to all the other shit that I sell.
Yeah.
So, seriously, I don't make a whole lot of money off of rapping,
right?
But I love to do it, and really it's a commercial for all the other shit I sell. So with that, it's like he don't have a fear of growing and losing a crowd.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Sound like Master P from back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
But
100.
anybody that heard T.I. album, man, go check it out. If you like T.I., if you
bottom.
want some good music, man, top to bottom, good album, man. Could be. I think we need to put him on the list for maybe album of the year, contender.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
Okay. Moving right along. Rock, was that fast enough for you, bro?
Very fast enough.
Okay, thank you.
Very on point. You know what I mean? Bow. You know what I mean?
Dave East and Styles P.
Okay.
Just brought out an album.
Together?
Yes,
yeah.
Together.
That's dope.
Yeah.
It is dope.
And I listened to it and I like it, but if you're from New York, Rock, you should listen to it because I know how much you love New York and East Coast. It's a good album.
It's a great project.
New York cats are praising this album. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's so New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
New York to come back, man.
So New York. I mean, I'm talking about as far as the sound, the lyrics is New York. You know what I'm saying? And I can appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm so ranged with music. You know what I'm saying? I can only appreciate it for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it's still a good album. Shout out to Dave East and Styles P. Okay, last but not least, my man, the legend, Ghostface. Ghost has dropped the album called The Lost Tapes. And as much as I hate to say this, I see why the Lost Tapes. Because it wasn't that good.
The cutting room floor.
So basically, he needed a song with Neo on it. That's what you telling me, Shawty?
Oh. No.
He needed a Neo song.
No.
One of his greatest records ever with Neo. One of his greatest records ever. But go ahead, fool.
All right, anyway.
Man, Neo coming to the National, man.
No,
This nigga said Neo.
Yeah, for real? We got sentimental and everything.
Yeah.
Really? For real?
Get my suspenders out.
Something that Neo and Gail can go to. What you talking about? Neo that nigga. Neo that nigga. I'm sorry.
Hey, you got excited, man. Man, Ghostface, man, I'm a big fan, but, this wasn't it. Yeah, it does. He do got a song on here that I like that he could bring out and it might run. A joint called Done It Again. Big Daddy Kane on it.
New Kane.
Big Daddy Kane,
Oh, Big Daddy.
And Big Daddy still got it, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? But the song dope, man. Done It Again. That's one of the highlights of the album, if he had any. So, shout out to Ghostface, man. Love you, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And that's my album reviews. That's my album reviews.
All right.
Fumie Beats.
Listen. Fumie out.
We got to do this shit more often so we can get 3 or 4 albums and get Fumie.
I review albums. I am Fuma. And this is Fumie Beats. We own it!
All right.
That's what's up. Our next segment. Hey, this is a good segue in itself. So how does an independent artist make it in the internet era.
Hey, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
We can
So
start with
you
Dollar Bill.
you got that graphic.
Before we start, man, Dollar Bill, what do you do, man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, just for everybody to know, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know. What do you do? Who are you, man?
What have you done? No, that's the
What
question.
do you do? What have you
Okay.
done? Who are you, bro?
Okay, well, you know, I just do my 9 grandkids right now. That's what I do.
Yeah, ain't no wrong with that.
But the bottom line is, somebody pointed out to me, I think it was my man down in Petersburg, Doug, or either, it might have been Chris Brooks, somebody said, that I'm the first person from Virginia to ever record on a hip-hop record. I mean, when I did Freedom, I did the trumpet part on Freedom with with Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5, 1979, 1980.
You know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I played on Apache.
Put your cups up.
That's the same thing you said when we did the interview.
Yeah. And I played on Apache too, for the thing that Will Smith and them always jumping. Yeah, I played on that.
Jump on it.
Yeah. So at least those two records right there give me some hip hop credibility as far as being a pioneer and 10, 15 years before Missing them ever got on a mic.
Yeah.
I was making hip hop records, and so that's where it started. All right, so we just go that route.
That's dope.
But the graphic that I asked my man to pull up was that world population joint.
Okay.
And what everybody has to understand, and you are everybody, because you're asking about independent and how do you, the industry has changed so much because of record stores being gone and the internet. But what happened for independence is, instead of trying to get your record on consignment in stores like locally and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Your records are now being sold around the world, all right? So if you create a buzz, you see what I'm saying? If you create a buzz of any kind and things start jumping off, your demographics are just so much different. Like it's if you see that thing on the thing, it's China is 1 billion people.
India too.
India, 1 billion people. But look at that. Nigeria, Brazil. I mean, the United States, we think the United States is all this and all that in a bag of chips. But there are other countries, man, that got a whole lot more people than we have. And so the internet made me an international. When I look at my royalties and I look at my sales and I see that I'm selling records in Japan, and I'm going like, I don't know nobody in Japan, but that ain't not the deal. Is your style, somebody likes it somewhere around the world, anywhere. All you got to do, I'll give you a good example, and this is on the internet. I got to be real careful for what I say. I did on one of my albums, and this was crazy. I did. I Like the Way You Move, the Outkast joint. All right, and I had
why would you pick that record?
I had a doo-wop group from here. Well, I'm a jazz.
Well, no, you did the chorus. You did the best part of the record.
I did the whole thing.
I part too?
No, I did. Okay, so cause I did like the Earth, Wind and Fire version with the horns and all that. Yeah. But what happened was when I got my royalty statement, like I put that thing out maybe in November or October, and then like December or first part of January, I got an $800 check. And I'm going like, what did I do to get an $800 check in sales, right? Yeah. So I looked on the joint and found out that I had sold 1,000 copies of that one song in England. Now, I had to do some digging to go like, why would 1,000 people in England, it's not a single, this wasn't being promoted, right? Why would 1,000 people be buying it? Somebody was using it in an aerobics class.
Wow.
right? They were exercising that joint, and it's I Like the Way You Move.
Right.
So just the title took off. Well, let me show you something, and this is for independents and people and artists and everything else. Now that we're in the digital age, how you title your song becomes important.
Wow.
The name of your title. Because check this out. When I looked on iTunes, my version was number 2 in the world at the time in sales. And I'm going like, wait a minute, this is crazy. But wait a minute. The real song by Outkast is The Way You Move.
The Way You Move.
The Way You Move.
Okay.
The hook says, I like the way you move. I put my title, I like the way you move. So when people were searching for that track, and you put in on the internet, I like the way you move, my joint showed up before theirs.
Message. Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
But that wasn't done on purpose, though, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, so then I started understanding how if you do a hook and the name of the song is not the name of the hook, you're missing sales. You're missing sales. If you if you are independent and you do a hook, that's the name of the song, because people, the way that search engines work, you type in what you hear.
Right.
Right?
That's true, yeah.
He's a beast. Right? You type, because the hook going, he's a beast, right? The name of the song might be Beast.
Right.
But whoever's got a song that's called He's a Beast is going to come up before yours if you didn't name the song the same way you named the hook. So somebody else has the potential to get your sale. Because if I'm just clicking, I'm going like, I want that song, He's a Beast, right? And then there it is right there. I don't know who the artist is. Click 99 cents. I sold that joint. Oh, that ain't the right song.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So independence. The other thing is promotion side. What I found out is that every market, every style, everything has a market. And you got to find your market and you got to promote to it. All right? Like right now, there are 112 smooth jazz stations or something like that, real stations. But there's another 100 and something internet jazz stations. So what I have to do is troll the internet and search for people who play that kind of music, right? And then hit them up with an email. Look, let me send you my song. And that's what independents have to do. They got to do research, Sean P.
Do you give them a long paragraph, a very wordy paragraph?
No, man, the average cat just look. If you get an email and then somebody say, hey man, I heard your show. Y'all on it. I love it. Can I send you my song so y'all can review it or talk about it or whatever?
Like that. We get messages like that.
And then you listen to the song. If the song is cranking, you're going to talk about it. Right. If the song is whack, you're not going to talk about it. You might talk about him, whoever sent it to you. Yeah. But the point is,
send it your own.
You have to do research. That getting signed mess is a joke now, and it's always been a joke. But you have to do research, and remember, keep your publishing. Keep your publishing. So many brothers sleep on publishing. They don't understand this. That publishing thing is what it is, because when you do get some sales or you get some airplay, if you own the publishing, you get both the public. Here's the way it works. The publisher gets a check, and the artist gets a check. Mm-hmm. If you the publisher, you get the publisher's check and the artist's check. The publisher's gonna get a check, period. Right? Mm-hmm. He gonna get the same thing. The artist will, depending on what percentage the artist owns. If you a solo artist, you wrote the song, you Drake, you wrote the song, you gonna get the publishing check and you gonna get the artist check. So hold on to your publishing unless somebody gonna give you $1 million. Now,
is it true that some people who don't write songs but they have a bigger name artist, do they get publishing even though they didn't have nothing to do with writing the songs?
No.
Like a Beyonce, for example.
No.
So she don't. So you mean to tell me that Beyonce? We don't. No, but there's a lot of records that she didn't write.
But that's the temptation rule, and that's why Sound Exchange came up.
Oh, okay.
When you get a chance to Google Sound Exchange and find out what Sound Exchange is, because that's the Temptations, what I call the Temptations rule of law. My Girl by the Temptations has been played a gazillion times all around the world.
Yeah.
Everybody know the song when they hear it start.
Yeah.
To this day, My Girl is just one of the biggest songs in the world.
One of the greatest
and
records
the Temptations never got a dime for every time
they did not write My Girl.
They didn't write it.
Yeah.
So every time it played on the radio, cha-ching, 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 3 or 4 pennies. Now, you got to understand something. It might be 3 or 4 pennies, but if it's 3 or 4 pennies, every time it got played, multiplied by the number of stations that played it. You know what I'm saying? And you talking about 15 like Happy. Happy, I mean, every time I heard Happy, I just said Pharrell is like raking in the cash because he got paid every time that record played. If it was 5 cents, multiply that 5 cent times 20,000 radio stations.
Yeah.
And the fact that they played it 20 times a day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you just, the cha-chings just start rolling. And that's why that publishing thing and that writing thing is so important for you to hold, as an independent, for you to hold on to.
So a superstar can't demand publishing just because of who they are.
No, if he writes the song, he owns the publishing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, you license your publishing out. In other words, one of my boys, my man who's passed away, EMI, because he wrote some songs for Backstreet and for NSYNC. And so this was my real inroad to the first advance he got against publishing was like for $300,000, something like that. After he got some songs placed with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and he, like I told you before about once you get all them songs placed, they're going to give you an advance against the next songs that somebody else is going to record. Mm-hmm. They gave that boy $1.2 million. Right? But of course they keep in the publishing until he recoups all that money. But see, if you got a song that's on a major artist like a Drake or somebody like that, it don't take no time to recoup that money because the joint is just sales and banging and airplay and all that stuff.
So do you think sampling is done less in this generation than it used to be back in the 90s, the 80s where you used to sample all the time?
Because you had to pay for it.
Yeah. Like you think it's done less now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
they ended it.
Because you didn't end it.
No. As a commonplace thing for hip hop, that was not the thing to do.
They still sample. What
I didn't say they don't sample. I'm saying every record used to be a sample. It was a point where they said that we're going to start charging y'all for that, and that was the.
That when Cats started doing other stuff.
Then you start hearing Outkast, and you start hearing DJ Mustard and Khaled, and Swizz Beats, and all of the people that's doing the instrumentations on the beat machines, because they was getting killed for the sampling.
They wanted people. They started getting greedy with the sampling. They wanted too much for the sampling.
But it was a raw. It was a. I remember when they did it. I remember.
But at the same time, you remember now the licensing fee if you play somebody's stuff over, like if I always do other people's tunes on my album. It's called covering. If you cover somebody else's song, you pay like 9.5 cents per record you sell. All right, there's a different license fee. So you still getting paid for me doing your song, and you getting paid like 10 cents for every copy that I sell, and I have to license it through Harry Fox or through whoever's licensing your song. But I'm not using your music. See, the sampling thing was when you were taking the actual sound off the record. The record company owned the sound. The artists and the writers and the publishers owned the song. And so the record companies were the one that was jacking people up because you're taking a sound recorder. It's like bootlegging almost. You're just taking a piece of the sound and using something I spent money to record. You're using that to make your beat. Whereas all you had to do is go. All the Sugar Hill stuff at first was real music. Like they did Rapper's Delight, and they got sued, and they ended up having to pay all that money to Chic for doing for Good Times, but they didn't sample it.
Rogers.
But they didn't sample it. They had to pay money for the licensing fees, right? But they didn't have to pay for no samples because all that stuff was played for real.
Like Lil Duval record.
Right.
Best Life.
Right.
That's a straight sample.
Yeah.
Straight record.
So he might not be getting no money out of this record.
He shouldn't be able to get. He shouldn't.
No
be
writers. Well, see, that's not that. You can get what they call a derivative copyright. A derivative copyright is if you add something to my song, so and what you add to it makes it a whole nother record, you can file for a derivative copyright, but you still got to pay it. Pay it for whatever. I'll give you an example. A record we did together. Not Hit the Road, Joe. What Doja wants, Doja like. Okay, yeah. When we did that, and see, we played that music. We didn't sample. When we negotiated the license with the people who did it, they gave us 50% of the copyright.
Wow.
Of that version, not of their original version. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. But they could have kept. The perfect example was Percy Mine, whatever that man's name is. Who did Hit the Road, Jack, and Don't You Come Back. When we tried to get a derivative copyright on Hit the Road, Joe, and Don't You Come Back No More, they said no. They said, as a matter of fact, we don't even want y'all using that record. And so MGM said, we want this record, right? And they said no. And MGM said, how much? Do you know what MGM paid the guy who wrote that song $75,000? And we played the music. That won't even a sample. But that's in a movie. And they paid that man $75,000 and he gave up we get no royalties from that joint.
So they paid for just being in the movie?
Right. Just to be in the movie.
Didn't make the movie hot.
No, but they wanted it.
Yeah, they wanted it.
They wanted it. They wanted it. 75G.
Made the movie out of that.
Right.
That's why I was saying, I'm like, well, give me.
You just wanted it. And you got to think, them people count money different than we count money.
Right. So, I mean, if you spending $9 million,
some new lights or something. God damn. You know what I mean? Like, that money could have went somewhere else though.
$9 million.
That sample, because then remember you changed it. Y'all changed it to Get Out of Here.
Right.
That version was just as good as Hit the Road, Joe.
The Peter Guns and Lord Tariq, they ain't getting no money for that record.
No.
They don't deserve to get no money for that record. Because that loop was the record, cuz. That loop, Steely Dan, wasn't it?
The song was pretty good.
That loop was the record. That loop was the record. Come on.
All the lead?
Say the verse. Sing the verse. Say the verse.
What?
Quote Peter Guns rap. Or whoever do they. Lord Tariq.
Lord Tariq.
Sing the thing, the Golden Girls.
Right,
Put you on the spot to sing a song.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again.
Know where you be at.
Come on, cuz. Come on,
What about Bahama?
We're not talking about Muhammad.
You should know how
Shout out
to
to
eat
Steve.
When you bump it in the streets, it's gonna
know how
rock,
to treat her.
right?
I guarantee you beat her. Know how to eat her and beat her. Come on, man. I knew that shit, nigga. I knew that shit.
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
That was a great segment.
So in the internet era, man, the YouTube thing is something you just can't. It's the big gorilla in the room. You just can't. And IG is the same thing now that they're doing the video thing.
Yeah.
So like with Mac Miller, we were talking about Mac Miller earlier, and that's what happened with Mac Miller. Mac Miller had been doing all of his little videos and stuff and putting them out there on the web. And so when his album came out, he already had a following. So if you're an artist, and it's okay, YouTube is like the new mixtape. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody was doing mixtapes back then, and I was trying to figure out why in the Blue Blazer y'all putting a mixtape out when we put a record out. And everybody's going like, but see, that's what people are looking for. They looking for mixtape.
I miss the mixtape era. I really do.
I'm just trying to figure out.
I do. I ain't gonna lie, I do too.
You miss it?
I really miss the mixtape era.
I
love mixtapes.
Yeah,
I love mixtapes, but I couldn't stand
YouTube
I
is.
just like to hear rappers go ham over other people's beats.
But YouTube
Exactly.
is the new mixtape. And so if you get out there and you got skills and you get on YouTube and you put stuff out there and people see it, you start generating the following.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Yeah.
But no, don't sleep on the monetization of YouTube, because y'all know it's a whole lot of folk that's getting paid $30,000, $50,000 a year by putting stuff on YouTube. YouTube, you monetize that joint. Like them little, I tell you who it was. Y'all remember that video of the little boy who had been to the dentist and he was high in the back seat? You remember that?
Yeah.
And the mama had it. He said, "Here's a little boy doing that." Man, them people made $30,000 like in 6 months from just putting that video on YouTube. Because monetizing is the point where if your YouTube video is hot, I want to put my ad at the beginning of your video YouTube. And chances are you're going to watch that ad for 2 or 3 minutes before you hit skip.
Yeah.
All right. The fact that I got in front of your face with my logo, my whatever I'm selling, that was money well spent. For that you knew, right? And then some of them joints you can't even skip them.
Yeah, right. You gotta wait for the ad.
Some you gotta wait for that thing to play.
Seconds,
So they must be paying big money to YouTube and everybody else. But remember, you're getting some of that money. So if you got something that's hot and you put it on YouTube, and that's like young cats, man. If you got skills, even if it's like a mixtape thing, if you rapping over somebody else's beat. You like Mac Miller. People knew who he was before his album came out. His album was the first album in 30 years to hit #1. First release came on the charts as #1. And I was looking at that joint going like, that's what I'm talking about. That's
independent.
That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They came on the chart #1 because he had built up a following before. And see, the chart is based on sales. At least the top 100. It's based on sales. So if you're putting a record out and all of a sudden 10,000 people buy your record in 1 week, you can come in at #1.
That's crazy.
You know, that's the other thing that nobody understands is, how do some of these people get on the charts? Well, they have some people go out and buy the doggone record. You know, they send some money around and everybody.
And that's what Chance did? Chance the Rapper?
Ghost.
He's independently?
Chance Rapper, independent.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he blew up tremendously.
So overall, there is success in the independent field.
It might be better now.
But that's what the demographic.
Hustle.
That's what the demographic thing is.
If I can find my crowd and sell them my product, I can keep the money.
Absolutely.
Keep the
money. Your boy,
record station, radio coming, and nothing.
Right.
And by the time you get to them, I got
Soldier Boy. Right? Isn't that
Soldier Boy, yep.
And radio players is non-existent now.
Right.
You don't really need it.
Or radio play that matters, you can get on XM radio or something like that.
Yeah.
You can get on XM Sirius and be heard all around the world. But terrestrial radio, I heard y'all talking about that last show, and y'all was saying terrestrial radio is like whatever. The terrestrial radio thing, man, is for advertisers. It's for car dealerships, and they look at the demographics, and that whole thing is who's riding around in their car listening to the radio, because I don't think nobody's at home listening to the radio no more.
Nah, nobody.
I don't think, so it's still, you riding in your car.
I don't think nobody in their car listening to radio for real.
Oh, yeah, even though I got XM Sirius, I kind of every now and then go to the station to see what's up.
Maybe
I listen to XM. I listen to it all the time.
I'd rather
you can Shazam an album straight on there.
what's new out there.
I'd rather listen to silence than listen to the radio, yo.
Yeah.
But
What about gospel artists?
Yeah.
The gospel artists are killing it on radio because that's where most new gospel.
Sometimes that's inspirational. Gospel is soothing.
What gospel you listening to?
Hear gospel lady.
Gospel is Migos now.
I mean, I say, come on, man.
Fred
Let me find out Fred Hammond got a Migos beat.
Snoop Dogg and Rance Allen tonight. I'm listening to the joint, and Snoop Dogg is with Rance Allen doing gospel tonight on the radio.
Because he got a whole gospel album.
But Snoop gospel album wasn't bad. It wasn't hip hop-ish.
What is Snoop doing a gospel? I mean, come on, don't get me
He wanted to find
started.
Jesus, right?
Yeah, right. You can find him in that bag of weed or something, but he ain't gonna find him.
Hey, one more time, shout out to Arthur Lee.
Shout out to Arthur Lee.
Y'all gonna stop dogging Arthur Lee out. That's my boy.
Hey, let's shout out.
Arthur Lee's a fucking genius.
Let's give a shout out to our sponsor, man.
DesignOnline.net. Graphic designs, flyers, brochures, business cards, photos, web pages, and designs. You can get in contact with them through one of us. Just inboxes. Oh, you can get in contact with him through Steve because Steve is on Facebook hiatus. But anyway, if you want to catch up with him directly, you can always go to Design Detail on Facebook.
Word.
Right?
Design, you got it.
Here we go.
Right.
November 6th.
Here we go. The Black Power mixtape, baby.
Yeah.
November 6th.
That's what Dollar Bill came for.
That's what I'm here for right now, boy. I'm here to hurt some people's feelings.
And most of our listeners, they know better. You know what I mean? They already know. You ain't got to drill this in their head not to vote. They know better.
Go vote.
You really believe that?
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be real with you, and then I'm gonna let you go, Dollar.
All right.
If you feel like voting is something that you can do, or you know, it's a. If I don't do it, then it doesn't matter, dog. Unfriend me right now, because that's the most ignorant shit I've ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm gonna say, because as somebody in our age group, in our generation, we should know better.
But see, we're not talking to your generation.
Well, this not, our demographics.
It's a lot in there.
It's crazy.
And, yeah, I know that, but I'm trying to get you to understand that. First of all, that the 18 to 35-year-olds, they are so disconnected and just don't understand. And the problem, man, is I'm gonna ask y'all, because all y'all younger enough. Did you? Everybody had to take government class.
Right.
Sure
Did you skip?
No.
Were you slept through the class?
I was involved though.
I like government.
Yeah.
I like history,
I
U.S. history and government. I like it.
I like government.
Yeah, I like it. I like to know how it works. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, there's a whole lot of folk that still are real uninformed, man, and where a lot of the little information I'm trying to share with you, like the chart that's up there now. Look how many people did not vote. No, that's the wrong one. That's the one I'm gonna talk about.
Flips through.
Oh, okay. Look at how many people did not vote. Now, number one, 93 million people did not vote at all. Let me show it to you. Donald Trump got 63 million votes. Hillary Clinton got 65 million votes, and 93 million people didn't vote at all.
Damn.
Yeah. But truthfully, and not to cut across you though, truthfully.
Oh, you cut?
Yeah, usually that's pretty much unless you have a monumental election like Obama, where it was popularized and glamorized. Usually that amount of people don't vote.
Yeah, that's true. Consistently, the percentages
do
are
not
low
vote.
in this country.
In this country.
But you got to understand something. With Obama, when you look at the figures with Obama, well, first of all, let me give a shout out to the black women. All right. Black women vote in higher percentages than any other demographic in this country.
And go to college.
All right. Yep. Yeah, they go to college higher. But let me show you. Let me show you one of the things is black women vote, and then 90% of the black women voted for Hillary Clinton. 93, 96, all voted for Hillary Clinton. All right. So you got to understand something. That Hillary got 65 million votes. Where everybody keeps going, and I had some arguments, man, with some of my former students who were saying the Electoral College this, the Electoral College that, and they don't understand or they were looking for an excuse. And then they were talking about the black prison thing. Bill and Hillary Clinton put all these black people in prison. You know, and I'm going like, okay, in 1986, 87, what grade were y'all in at the time?
Middle school.
I was in third.
Okay.
High school.
Okay. 1986, 87,
elementary school.
A drug called crack. A drug called crack hit 22 cities in the United States. All right? And y'all know what happened for the next 10 years.
Yes.
Uzis, MAC-10s, street sweepers, those were commonplace. Y'all know because y'all grew up during that era.
Yeah.
And so what happened was people started screaming saying, y'all got to do something to get these Uzis, Mac 10. I mean, drive-bys were like every day. Right out in HP where y'all come from, drive-bys were every day. So when a lot of people going like, okay, so how do you cut this max out? They started enrichment project exile, where if a felon get caught with a gun, he go to jail for 5 years. Yeah. Period. And you know what it did? It changed a whole lot of stuff. And you know right now, drive-bys in Richmond are fairly rare compared to what they used to be.
Hold on, I'm going to cut you off. Shout out Nick Whiston. He said Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote.
Yeah. No, they don't vote.
Really?
No.
Yeah, against our religion.
Wow.
They don't vote. They don't recite the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't stand. I put a graphic up on that. As far as,
I didn't know.
Because the graphic came back to say is if 200,000 or whatever the number of Jehovah's Witnesses is don't vote and everything is, why is it that you want the dog Kaepernick out for taking a knee, doing whatever? And these people, ain't nobody talking about them. In other words, you can use a religious difference to say you don't want to participate, but you can't do it based upon killing black men. But that we're getting off on the subject right now. So let's go back to vote.
Voting is complicated though.
Okay,
but voting is complicated.
It's a complicated notion. And just starting at a beginning point, he was asking about young people. 18 years old, 19 years old, 20, simply don't give a shit about much of anything. They don't care about health insurance. They don't care about the government. You're not a homeowner. You own no property. You have nothing. You live with your mama. You really don't care. So how to get them out is how do you do it? So that's a problem to be presented.
That's real.
Right?
They gotta be informed though. And I'll be honest with you. My class down Virginia State, I had sent all of them voter registration thing. And by the way, by the time this thing is too late to register to vote now, because voter registration for Virginia was October 15th. But if you somewhere else around the world, it's still not too late to vote. Right. So this is the internet. You could be anywhere in the United States, and it's still not too late to register to vote. And then the other thing is early voting. And I'm going to shout out to all your people in Georgia. Y'all Negroes in Georgia, or y'all colored people, you better wake up. Because they trying to steal that election in Georgia, man. And you could wake up because that black lady, Ms. Abrams has a great chance of being elected the first female and first black female governor in the United States.
Wow.
And they're trying to steal that joint because the guy running against her is doing everything he can to hold votes back. He got 53,000 votes that he's sitting over there on the side saying, you didn't put a hyphen between your last name and your first, and since on your driver's license, they got something in Georgia called exact match. All right. Whereas what's on your voter registration has to be exactly what's on your ID.
Wow.
Or they can set your ballot aside. And so they're doing, around the country, they're doing voter suppression is real.
So you know what's interesting about that too?
So you got a middle initial in your driver's license.
And it's not on it.
Wow.
Set you aside.
You know what's interesting? Did they make a big deal about illegal voting? They say statistically you're more likely to get killed by a pineapple than to run into voter fraud.
Absolutely.
Right.
Straight
That's
up and
why
down.
I don't understand why they don't go digital. Like, what's the problem?
Because then it can be stolen.
Yeah, it can be hacked.
But we're being hacked now with paper. You're just hearing everything
There's
right
so
now.
many ways they finesse. You ever seen a gerrymandering map before?
Yes.
That's some crazy shit to see.
Yeah.
Gerrymandering map.
Virginia is working on that, and so we'll get back to that right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you're in Virginia, because we jumping all over the place, but that's cool.
That's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do.
Right. So they
crisscross.
So they redrew the district map for District 7. Mm-hmm. And District 7, Dave Bratt, I'm going to tell everybody who Dave Bratt. Dave Bratt beat Eric Cantor. Dave Bratt's a member of the Tea Party. He beat Eric. Now, the Tea Party is more conservative than Donald Trump and these other crazy people. Mm-hmm. I mean, the bottom line is they want to cut taxes for people who got money and cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all the social programs. They want to cut that to pay for the taxes they giving to the rich folk. And that's the bottom line with Dave Brat and the Tea Party folk. So they say they want to get government out of business people business. What they really want to do is cut all the programs that benefit black people and give that money to rich folks. But Dave Brat beat Eric Cantor. Eric Cantor was second in line to Speaker of the House, and Dave Brat beat him from up there, Randolph-Macon and Ashland. Well, there's this chick named Abigail Spanberger who's running against him, and it's a good possibility she gonna kick his butt because they drew the lines, and now the District 7 goes all along the side of Richmond, all the way down into Amelia County, all the way down into Chesterfield. Like I'm right there in North Chesterfield, and my district, and Abigail Spanberger. Check Spanberger out, man. She was a CIA agent. She was a CIA agent, and homegirl got pictures of her shooting guns and all the other stuff. And she's going to kick his butt. Mm-hmm. And if you out there vote for Abigail Spanberger, just take my word for it. She better than Dave Brat no matter what. Dave Brat don't care nothing about you. Nothing. Nothing. And we're kind of, Richmond itself is in pretty good shape because McEachin is probably going to win without a problem. Because, you know, this area in Richmond right here is kind of like gerrymandered, like you said, so that we could have a brother represented, just like Bobby Scott's district down in the Tidewater, Norfolk area. It's kind of like drawn line.
Right. I don't think nobody even running against him.
I don't even think he's opposed right now. Right. But Virginia has 11 districts. 7 of the 11 districts have Republicans in them, and 4 of the other districts have Democrats. Now check this out. That's because most people don't understand the gerrymandering thing that you said. The House of Representatives for the state draws the boundaries. And if they draw it all crazy, trying to like put all their people in there, which is called gerrymandering.
I've seen it.
Right.
It's like an alley.
It's crazy.
Will connect 2 groups of people. An alley.
Right.
Will connect 2 groups of people to get that vote.
So you can say, you live on that side of the street, and the people that live on the other side of the street, y'all don't vote in the same district.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? Because the black folk live over here,
and the white folk
live over here. So we putting all of them in a little district together, and we're gonna put y'all over here in Church Hill and Blackwell and all the East End stuff. And so we're gonna let y'all have your little one representative, right? But see where Virginia has changed, and I brag on Virginia. I brag on Virginia all over the world because I do all kind of political posting, man. Because I'm right now I'm hyped up on this politics thing. But Virginia is the only first southern state to elect a black governor, number 1. Remember, we the cradle of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
This is where the Confederacy was headquartered.
80% of black people
but we're the first state in the country to elect a black governor. And at this point in time, all 5 statewide offices are Democrats. Your governor, lieutenant governor, and y'all got to watch that guy because he has a bright future, your lieutenant governor. Your attorney general and both your state senators in Virginia, all of them are Democrats. And Virginia voted for Obama twice and voted for Hillary. Okay, what makes Virginia different? Okay, no. College education.
Yeah.
All right, the data that I explained there, Virginia's got a whole lot of colleges, but a lot of military people. Virginia is the most militarized state in the country. We got more military bases than any other state in the country. Huh? No, everywhere.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's military bases out in Blackstone, Fort Lee down in Petersburg, everywhere Fort Eustis, right up there by King's Dominion, the fort right up that way. Did y'all know the Pentagon? The Pentagon and Langley CIA headquarters in Virginia and Quantico. But did y'all know that the farm was in Virginia? Yeah, I'm one of these crazy people. You know what the farm is, right?
FBI facility?
No, the Quantico is the FBI. You know what the farm is? CIA training headquarters. You know where it is?
You heard that.
It's Camp Peary. Right down in Williamsburg. It's 45 miles from Richmond, 48 miles from Richmond.
They keep that
is the CIA. But, people know The CIA had training headquarters that they call the farm. It's right down 64. And if you ever, I pulled up to the gate once just to see what the deal was.
You got ran
Right?
down?
No, they just like, I just pulled up and turned around because I knew what the deal was. I'm not going up in there. But Virginia has done well because we got all these military people coming here. And then the other line is we got a bunch of colleges. So let me give you the data real quick, and then y'all can jump on this. College-educated people voted for Hillary Clinton. Non-college educated people voted for Donald Trump. All right. Now here's something it's funny that I put on the internet. Even if you look at college-educated white men who have advanced degrees, masters, lawyers, doctors, anybody like that, they voted for Hillary Clinton. All right, the majority of white men voted for Donald Trump. College-educated white men with advanced degrees voted for Hillary Clinton. So I said we need to give all the white men a scholarship to work on their masters. I mean, we need to do something. We need to do something because what it says is that the better educated you are, the more choices that you make, and the more way you see things. The people who are uneducated, they just don't see it. They swear out that anything he says is the truth and all this other stuff.
And see, this is a scary thing about this that you bring
I got
up.
something I want to add.
Especially with young people coming up in the internet age. And what me and Steve was talking about earlier with Facebook, the messages that they send, the unchecked facts. Facts. They can just tell you anything. Young people, and probably what separates them from the educated person is, and I say educated person, and it's smarter than a person is uneducated in that regard. But what I'm saying is typically people that go to college can discern information better.
Right.
I can get the information, go fact check it, and put my own conclusion together. I've almost been trained to do it. Right. But the person that doesn't go to college, and I mean, you gotta hope that person got somebody beside them that can walk them through it. Otherwise, they just read the headline and keep it moving.
Right. But let me say this to you though: the exception to what we talked about was black folk. The black folk, in majority, voted for Hillary Clinton, regardless of their education. Now, here's one little caveat. Remember, I said black women voted higher. It's interesting fact, when I broke the data down, and you can find this data, it's all right out there in the census to tell you what the election data was. 93% of black women voted for Hillary, and 6% voted, college-educated black women voted for Trump. Non-college educated black women, it was 95 and 3%. Only 3% of non-college educated black women voted for Trump. In other words, it's like a little bit different is the more education you had when you black, the more likely, and I just chalked that up to income. That people, there's that percentage of folk, no matter what color you are, that have an income that the first thing when somebody said we're gonna cut your taxes, they're going like, oh yes, please cut my taxes. Please cut my taxes. And they don't realize that the data that came out today said that that tax cut that passed through, 83% of the people who got the tax cut make over $300,000 a year.
There's
everybody in Congress.
There was also Hillary lost a lot of Democrats when it came to her and Bernie.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not like the way they treated Bernie.
Exactly.
So instead of voting for her,
they just didn't vote.
No, they voted for Trump.
Oh, some of them probably just didn't vote.
But that's
93 million.
But that's the 93 million.
Yeah, that's the 93 million.
Remember, Trump didn't win.
But you got to remember, Sean just said, most times that's the average.
But Trump didn't win. Trump only got 63 million. So
true.
If we get back down into the data and dig it, I know y'all the show people ain't gonna be something like that. So let me just show you this. For the Electoral College, there were 3 states where determined whether the Trump became president.
Right.
Wisconsin, Michigan, and Florida.
I was in Florida.
All right. Florida had 20.
He won Ohio too, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm giving you the numbers. Florida has 29 electoral college votes. And 112,000 more people out of 93 million had voted, Florida would have gone for Hillary.
Wow.
So when you look at the numbers, and I wish I had them on the thing, when you look at the numbers, it's crazy. Hillary, if 148,000 more people had voted in Michigan, a combination of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Florida, Hillary would have won.
Can we speak to the fact though that people did not like Hillary?
Oh yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
And that, like I said, I know we want to speak. There is a change I feel coming with a lot of people in how they feel about the Democrat-Republican thing.
Right.
That's why Bernie got so strong.
Right. But see, that's why it's important for everybody to understand is on November the 6th, Hillary is not running.
Yeah.
All right. And on November the 6th, you need to get your butt out there and vote. And I want you to vote for the Democrat because it gets real nasty. And understand this right now. And this is where people don't understand. There are 2 or 3 things. I want to get back to what you said. How much time we got left? Because I thought the show...
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I want to get back to what you said.
Yeah, you ain't Sean. We ain't got to cut the show.
Oh, okay.
Hilarious.
I want to get back to what you said. You are absolutely right. Hillary and the Democrats screwed over Bernie and Elizabeth Warren.
I like Elizabeth.
And for that reason, a lot of people decided they were going to sit out the 93. And it's just enough people to say that instead of getting the Electoral College, Trump got the Electoral College. But here's the thing that I try to get everybody to understand something, and I keep preaching it. The president decides who gets on the Supreme Court.
That's the biggest thing you done did.
And what happens is, in this country, the Supreme Court has been pretty much, for the last 50 years, 4-4 with a person in the middle that's a swing vote.
Right.
So that's how the Supreme Court upheld Obamacare. When they sued them and tried to throw Obamacare out, the Supreme Court upheld Obamacare 5-4. All the biggest rulings in the Supreme Court over the last 30 years have usually been a 5-4 split. Now with Kennedy resigning and Kavanaugh in there, the Supreme Court has swung 5-4 conservative. And so what I try to get young people to understand is, look at Plessy versus Ferguson. All right. First of all, you got to understand, that's why I asked you about governor class. You got to understand that after slavery and Emancipation Proclamation, it was against the law to discriminate against black folk all over the country. So you had black elected officials, you had black mayors, you had black city council members. In Richmond, John Mitchell was a member of the city council way back then. He was one of the people that voted against putting them doggone Robert E. Lee statues and all them things on Monument. And he voted against it on city council way back then. Okay, but what happened was when the Supreme Court upheld Plessy versus Ferguson, and you can look it up. This is why I just wish more people would research. Because all the stuff I've been doing over the last year and a half has been database. And what I do is, you'll see on the thing right there, like that one that's up on the screen right now, talking about indigenous people. Research. Christopher Columbus never came to North America.
Nope.
Americus Vespucci never came to North America. Why this is called America, I don't know. Why we celebrate Columbus Day, I don't know, because neither one of them ever set foot on North America.
We went to Haiti,
All
right?
right? They were down in Brazil and down in South America and down in the Caribbean.
Right.
But they never came up here. So why do we give, and then the other thing you look at it on is, there were thousands of people here when Christopher Columbus supposedly discovered America. How you going to discover something where there are thousands or millions of people living there?
Right.
Well, they said it was really actually millions. And they were saying, if you look at the history of what we call North America and South America, that these people were here before Christ. They were farming. I mean, you look at the Aztecs and the Incas and all. You look at all those people. You look at the Nastasi and all them. Look at them caves out in the western part of the United States where people were living in them caves 1,000 years ago. How do you discover something where people been living there for thousands of years?
They just found
How do you
They just
convince
found-
poor white
right,
people
yeah,
that you
something,
got more in common with Trump than the black dude working with you next to you on your damn assembly line?
Because
Same thing. It's the same shit.
Because they don't. Yeah,
It's marketing and promotion. That's what
Marketing.
it is.
It's marketing and promotion.
That's what it is.
I'm telling you.
Yep.
It's popularity.
It's
contest.
marketing.
marketing lies and promoting lies.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people don't understand how Trump got
Nobody
along.
else knew y'all was here,
Real
so I
simple.
can say I discovered it because nobody else in the world knew y'all was here. You know what I mean?
Well,
was
that's
surprised.
because at the time they controlled the books. And they control, like right now, the craziest thing in the world I just heard was Texas, the school board down in Texas, which is one of the largest boards, determines what, the Board of Education determines what goes in the textbook, right? So now Texas is talking about don't put Hillary Clinton and don't put other items from the last election in textbooks coming up, the new textbooks that are going to be adopted. And I mean, in other words, what we were taught was omitted intentionally.
Wow.
Now that's why you don't know history, is because the textbooks, and remember, black folks, we don't write no textbooks. And we don't adopt textbooks. So if some board of education decides what they want to put in the textbook and they decide to omit all of this out of the textbook, then you won't know it if you don't do any research and studying on your own. And that's what the biggest problem is, Sean, is that our folks get to be a little lazy sometimes.
I'm scared for the internet era people. They can't, man, you know how many
but now
stories I get sent, and I look at it for 2 seconds and say, this shit fake as
That's
hell.
a lie.
2 seconds.
You know what?
But that's me, though.
I blame the school, the way they push kids through school, man.
Yeah, because they.
Because
they
uniform
push-
and generic.
Yes.
In a lot of, in a
So
lot
you
of
don't
public
dig
schools.
no more. You don't. They're not.
They
taught
don't
to
teach
dig.
critical thought.
No.
And I mean, unless you're in a special schooling system, they don't
Right.
teach critical thought.
But just like with independent music and everything else, the internet's out there. All you gotta do is be.
That's the crazy.
But you
That is
all the
gotta. But you
information in your
gotta.
pocket.
You just gotta be willing to go look for it. When
Right.
I wanted to know about the electoral college, and I said to myself, okay, everybody's talking electoral college. What is the electoral college?
Yeah.
Right.
I Googled the electoral college and it told me
Exactly what
how,
it is.
Exactly how it. So I'll share this with everybody for today. So you have representatives, like Virginia has 11 districts, right? And we got 2 senators. All right. So that means how many electoral? We got 13 electoral college votes. Because for every voting district you got and your 2 senators, that's how many electoral college votes you got.
Right.
So when you start, and your districts are determined by population. So like, for instance, California,
Florida,
New York, and
yeah.
Florida, they have more electoral. So everybody's trying to say, well, but California, New York, and Florida, all of that. Well, that's because they have more people there.
Right.
They have more representatives in Congress there,
Right.
and everything else. So everybody need to
And
understand
meanwhile,
that.
DC has none.
No, DC has 3.
No, they got on electoral.
They got 3 electoral college votes.
No, what is it that DC has none of?
They don't have any voting rights in
There
the
you go.
Congress or Senate.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
No, they don't have a right to vote, but they do have 3 electoral.
That's crazy,
they have 3
isn't it?
electoral
In
colleges.
DC.
DC don't get with it. One more time, run it down.
They
bro.
don't have a voting House of Representative member or senator.
Exactly.
There is no senator from
None.
DC.
Why? Because it's in DC?
It's a
Because
district.
DC
not
is
a
a
state.
territory.
Oh, okay.
It's not a state.
Okay.
All right. Just like Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has representatives,
Right.
but they don't have senators because you only have 100 senators, and that's 2 from each of the 50
That's crazy.
states.
Yeah.
There are 400. Now understand this. This is why everybody got to vote.
130.
There are 435 House members up for election this year.
30 Senate.
All right, and 33 senators,
Okay.
and 435 House members. You know stuff, don't you, Sean?
Yeah, I read.
And
You know,
so
We come from that generation.
Yeah, I
Right.
read.
right. So if we can get the majority, now understand this. Remember when they impeached Bill Clinton? Okay, impeaching somebody happens in the House. All right, removing them from office happens in the Senate. even if right now there are only 33 Senate seats up. The real Senate seats are going to come up in 2020 because in 2020 there's 67 Senate seats up. All right, so that's when you could flip the Senate in 2020. But and right now it's going to be hard to flip the Senate to 51-49, but it's possible. But the House, if we can get the majority of seats in the House, we can bring, and this bothers me, we can bring Trump up for impeachment. All right? And there's a whole lot of people saying that. We're going to impeach that sucker. Don't mess with me, you're going to remove him from office.
Yeah.
But you can bring him up for impeachment. And here's what happens when you impeach somebody. That puts them on trial in the Senate. And they have to defend the lies that they told. Trump can't defend all them lies he told.
You can't.
They ain't got enough time left on this
I
damn
mean,
first
right, they
term.
got enough time for him to
I think he know he's not going to have a second term.
Right.
That's the thing, though, like with Trump.
I know.
And a lot
got
of people, I just have a different outlook on what voting is, really. And I don't know if most people understand this. And it's just really a practical approach to it.
Right.
You don't necessarily vote because your one vote is going to move something. That's not where you start at. Where you start at is they count numbers.
Right.
When we go and vote, they come to you and say, what do you need?
Right.
In return for your vote.
Right.
That's the number, that's the baseline for why you should go and vote. So that so that the people who are being elected come to you and ask you, what do you need?
Okay, so here's the big problem. A lot of people will tell you the Democrats haven't done anything to earn our vote. They take our vote for granted. And I'll tell you right now, how have you leveraged exactly what you said? How have you leveraged your vote to get what you want from the Democrats? You blaming the Democrats, but how have you leveraged your vote?
Well,
Did you tell them what you want?
Right.
Did they
And
even
if
come
you not-
talk to you?
What?
Because you don't go vote.
Right.
We're not.
And so they
Trump
not.
didn't even campaign in California. Campaign for what? I
Right.
know I have no shot in California. I'm not wasting my campaign dollars in California.
Right,
That's
'cause
not
I
what
don't
they
have
do.
a-
But, but he won the
I
states
go
he did.
talk- huh?
He won the states that he did waste
You
his
don't
money
even
on.
understand how Trump really got into office. All he did was hit the white mail button. That's
Right.
really all he did.
And then the other thing is
It was beautiful, really.
the white female stayed home
And the white
they-
female typically
the
goes
white,
with the white male.
but no, not the college educated.
Not the
Yeah,
college educated.
but the-
I'm
but
just
the
saying
housewife-
What
working
happened
class.
is the college educated white female stayed home because of Bernie.
Yeah.
There you
You
go.
brought up that point. They mistreated Hillary and them miscalculated and mistreated Bernie so bad that enough people said, I ain't voting for you. And for that reason, and it was in the 3 states, remember?
And in conscience, I can't vote for Trump either.
There's 6 states altogether that Trump won that guaranteed him. But in any 3 of them, like Pennsylvania and Ohio.
When I saw Ohio go, I knew it was a wrap.
Yeah, when
As soon as
Pennsylvania
I
and
saw
Ohio.
Ohio go, it's
But
a wrap.
North Carolina came that close. But remember, a lot of them people use this voter disenfranchisement. They do voter nullification. They do everything they can to steal your votes. And I'll say this to you right now, which is one of the things we put out there. If people don't understand why to vote, if your vote wasn't valuable, why are they trying to steal it? You see what I'm saying? Why are they doing everything in the world to take your vote away if your vote wasn't valuable? You see what I'm saying? And black folk haven't figured that one out yet. These people are trying to keep me from voting. That means voting must be a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And the latest thing y'all see on the news right now is down at an old folks home, they had a bus come to pick up the old people to take them to register or whatever. And the guy who was the director of the old folks home told the people they couldn't get on the bus. What you got to do with where I'm going? Y'all
What the hell they got to do? They
Y'all
old
can't
people.
get on the bus because this bus is political. And I'm going like, what? That's the latest thing. Other than the 53,000 votes that Kemp is trying to keep away from Stacey Abrams. When y'all look out there today and you see on the internet and everything else, older black people were told they couldn't get on the bus to go to the polls for early voting or registration because the head of the old folks home didn't think it was appropriate for them to get on the bus.
Wow.
Guys, look, you gotta go vote.
Yeah.
And then you gotta stay involved too. when you vote,
and vote on a local level.
Man, follow up. Like you said, hold these people, the people you elect, accountable. If they ain't doing what you want, don't just vote.
Right.
Hit your sponsors, man. Hit the sponsor up.
DesignOnline.net, the graphic designs, flyers, brochures, business cards, photos, web pages, and designs. If you need to get in contact with them, you can contact one of us. And if you want to contact them directly, you can go to Design Detailed at Facebook.
Brittany was dancing like that was a song. Every time you do the design,
I read it so many guys.
Let's give it up
she was pop
to
like
the honorable, the sensei, Kill Bill. No,
Hey yo, people in the comments was like, "Oh man, it was one of the greatest shows ever." So
that's what's up.
Yeah, go vote, goddamn.
yeah. So
I go vote because my granddad risked his life to go stand in the lines.
Well,
my great granddad.
That's one of the posters I said. Martin Luther King gave his life fighting. I mean, why would they kill somebody like that if what he was doing wasn't so powerful?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not a threat, nobody cares. You know, if you're not a threat, nobody cares.
You're right.
So we must be a serious threat to that white supremacy, white superiority thing if we can use our vote to shut that mess down. That's what I'm talking about.
All I got to say is they project 2045, white people will be the minority.
And they know it. And they know it.
On that note,
That's crazy.
watch us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Instagram, Spike Punch Show, and also go to
to the people, vote,
and iTunes,
vote,
and then Instagram is Spike Punch Official and Spike Punch Biz. Get the merch. We out, yo.
Peace out.
Peace.